Are you fearless enough to love yourself despite what the world tells you? Right now, global revolutions are taking place. Revolutions to eradicate systemic oppression that has obstructed our ability to see and love ourselves completely. Systemic oppression has been defined as the intentional disadvantaging of a group of people based on their identity, while advantaging members of a dominant group. But what would you say if I told you that this perceived dominant group was just an illusion? It's an illusion because it's completely dependent on the feeling and internalizing of inferiority. The universal law of polarity says everything in life has an opposite. So if you believe one is supreme, then naturally you're going to have opposing views about the opposite. Now, systemic oppression is very real and very tangible. However, it's our cooperation that allows it to flourish. It only works if a group of people believe they're inferior. A group, a people, a community would have to not only hate themselves, but perpetuate that hate towards others. Being complicit in this type of inferiority belief and mindset brings the destruction to our own front doors. But there is a solution. We can heal our communities by healing ourselves. Now, priority number one is self-care. The absence of self-care can be more damaging to the pursuit of justice than systemic oppression ever could. High blood pressure, high diabetes, high cholesterol, these chronic conditions are not running rapid because we're inferior. These are symptoms of a system designed to fail us. But we can combat these disparities by taking responsibility for the things that are within our control. Remove the neglect and negativity, because our bodies are our temples. So we have to be mindful of what we're consuming. No, there's not a lot of healthy food options for us to drive through. So that means we're going to have to start cultivating and cooking our own food. There's this wave of veganism happening in melanated communities just like Compton. We have farming initiatives that don't just feed us, they also teach how to grow the food for ourselves. And with a community that deals with the stresses that we do on a daily basis, we have to keep our minds healthy, meditating and praying so we can refocus and reclaim that power. We've been conditioned to see self-care as a luxury rather than a necessity and a natural way of life that's actually always been a part of our culture. But when you allow yourself to be labeled as a minority, subconsciously, we start to accept that we're not worthy. So what do? We become fearless. Fearless in taking control. Fearless in healing ourselves and educating ourselves. We can't rely on the current systems as they are now. People are dying now. Our children are being miseducated right now. And we can't just react. We have to refocus. A major component of our culture is community, which is something that's been neglected. Yes, we call ourselves sisters and brothers, but have we really embraced the concept of UNITY? See, unity starts within your own circle. Support the people you have access to. Make it your personal responsibility to help uplift and encourage the people around you. Start seeing others as a reflection of self. Make it a priority to support the people on your timeline with a double tap and a repost. Thank you. Vote in your local elections and support your small businesses. What I'm saying is these are the types of changes that cost nothing, but have an immense amount of value. Because if you don't like what's going on If you don't like how the city is being ran, then tap in. Figure out what's going on. Don't let it just keep rolling on unchecked, causing you more stress having to drive over all these extra potholes. We have to move in the direction of our ask, because we don't have the time nor the luxury to wait for the world to decide if we're worthy of basic human rights. No one's coming to save us. And that's a truth we're going to have to accept and start working to build for ourselves. Because the goal of systemic oppression is to dominate, not educate. So we're going to have to get the knowledge that we need to liberate ourselves. And you do that by reclaiming your knowledge of self. No more asking for permission. Be fearless in walking in your power and not another version of what's been accepted. Because we need more of our own schools, our own teachers, our own mentoring and education systems. And these changes are within our reach today. We can start by teaching our own children about who they are and where they really come from. We can build their self-esteem by teaching them the truths about melanated people and our contribution of success all over this world, especially here in Compton. So I'll ask again, are you fearless enough to love yourself despite what the world tells you? I know it's a lot to process, but we have to focus on the one thing we can control: ourselves. Which is why we will walk in our power and redefine ourselves for ourselves. Because how we move forward is up to us. How we disrupt, dismantle, and depart from systemic oppression, that's up to us. This is our time. You, me. We are the revolution. But it's time for us as a people to start making some changes. Let's change the way we eat. Let's change the way we live. And let's change the way we treat each other. You see, the old way wasn't working, so it's on us to do what we got to do to survive. Tupac. And that's just the way it is.